White guilt.
Let's talk about it.
I'm in.
Oh.
So, question. What is my personal responsibility? So if I want to be an ally, if I want to help as much as possible, what can you give me some advice, some thoughts about what is my personal responsibility? How do I become an ally?
Well, light questions is the thing I really like about
why
the
we
show.
have the...
Yeah, that's why we're drinking.
Yep.
I wish that there was one answer,
Yeah.
right? I think really what this comes down to is caring out loud. I think that if you care about this particular subject and no one knows, then it doesn't matter whether you care or not. I think that if you care, you start figuring out ways to help. And some of that might just be asking black people directly, like, what can I do for you? Because that answer is very different, right? That's a hard question, and hopefully it's someone you're close to and not some rando that you see on the street. Hey, guy, I see you're black. What can I do for you? Like, that's not really the answer.
Right.
But I think there are things, look, there are some that are just obvious.
Yeah.
As we're talking about heavy things like reparations, we're not expecting that.
Right.
I mean, you can give me some money if you want, and I will take it. I'll just tell you that.
I'll give you a little money, but
Sure,
not much.
right? Like, here's $12. That's all
That's
I,
right,
all I
12
got, man.
Good luck.
Yeah, that'll move you right up. Gets all caught up. But I think there's things like that when we talk about being an ally. I think we're literally talking about being an ally. It is, and I'll give you a great example.
Okay.
There was, and we're starting to see this in the news a lot more. When people see a black person get stopped by the police, there are white people that are pulling up right next to them and getting out of their car and standing there.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're not there to be
Yep.
like, kill that guy. They're none of them.
Right.
Just like,
Right.
you know what? This person,
I'm a witness.
I'm here. I'm on, and I'm recording.
Yes.
So do what you're
Yes.
gonna do. That's being an ally,
Yes, it
right?
is.
And it's also using your privilege because
Yes.
the odds that white person is getting out of the car and watching and is going to get shot is really small.
Yeah.
And also, let's be clear, it's also small that a black person is going to get out of their car and get shot. It's not a thing that's just happening every time black people get pulled over. We're not insinuating that. But it happens
But it's a fear.
exponentially more, and it is a fear
Yeah.
with almost every black person. Like, oh
Yeah.
no, I didn't do anything wrong. Maybe I was speeding, but now I have to keep my hands visible. Even if they tell me to reach for something, I got to be like, watch me. You're right. Like, there's a lot of that fear involved. So being an ally is recognizing that and doing something to alleviate it, right? So that by itself is huge. It is standing up for folks. It is when your family says some racist shit. Telling your family, not my house, or I'm not having your racist kids come over here, or whatever the things are, right?
Yeah.
I think that is how you become an ally. And wherever your comfort level is, again, you got your kids sleeping upstairs, you don't need to run out of the house when gangland violence is happening to say, like, don't do, right? Like, you also have to protect your own. But I think the difference in good people is that there is some risk that they take upon themselves. That if you consider yourself a good person, risk is a part of that. And so if this is something that's important to you when you're good, then risking your money, financial status, your standing in the community, your very life, that's part of it. And so I think if you want to be an ally, you have to do those things.
And I guess I think too, I don't know, like it's not like us and them. I just feel like the more, and I feel like white people feel that way about other white people, but I just feel like the more we can see each other as us, we're all us. And so I'm sticking my neck out there for us.
Right.
Right? Not for just you, but for us, because that helps the world. That's going to help my kids grow up in a better world. Like,
right.
We together collectively are creating a better world for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even you all white supremacists that don't like us.
It's true.
Whether you like it or not, we're going to create a better world for you as well.
You won't give us any credit for it, but
No, but we will, because we're still us.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I wanted to say that you are an ally just by having this show. just by giving us a voice, giving a platform for these types of difficult conversations. You're an ally in that way.
And with some risk, because you're getting some
You're getting some
I get
really
some comments.
really tricky
right?
comments.
Yep.
So you're risking that, but also you're an ally to your beautiful black son. You've provided a life for him that he might not have ever had. That's being an ally. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to go ahead and adopt beautiful black sons, but guess what? You can do something to support beautiful black boys and black girls who are in different after-school programs or whatever. You can volunteer your time, or even if you don't have time, your money or whatever. Support black businesses, support black theater, those are ways you can be an ally. You know what I mean? Without having to go out and do signs and protests and so forth. But there are things that you can do from your home right now, going online and just supporting something and giving something to some sort of black organization. Yeah. Obviously not the stupid organizations, because there's some tricky organizations out there too. But something that you know personally, that a friend of yours, hopefully you have one black friend, who has promoted.
I've got two!
At least.
At the very least two.
That's true. At least two. You know what I mean? But that you can support, those kind of things are ways of being an ally. Yeah. There's so many ways. Yeah.
Can I? What you said brought up something else, but I've been wanting to talk about it. Mm-hmm. So, Joey goes to an amazing group called the Homeschool of Color, and it's families of color, different mixed races, and and there's a lot of people in it, and anyway, so it's the most supportive, amazing group ever. But that being said, that is not always we don't always get that support. There has been people that we've seen on Facebook or other people, not directly to us generally, though I have had that, but people who really do not like white people adopting black children. They do not think you should adopt mixed race. And I know actually several black families that have adopted white kids. It is more unusual. But
it does happen.
But it does happen, and I know some of the most amazing stories. But so do you guys have any thoughts about that? Like that? But that is a thing. There is a thing where, and again, my son's birth mother chose us. She knew we were white.
Beautiful.
She wasn't just taken away from her. Like she knew who we were.
Good.
She chose us for very specific reasons.
Beautiful.
So that makes me feel better, obviously. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I mean, I don't know. Personally, I don't see an issue with it. I can see where the loophole is, and here's the issue, right? Okay. All of these things have a speed bump or a wrench that can get thrown into them, right? It's the insinuation. Everyone who laughed at that has watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Anyway, the insinuation is that by a white family adopting a black child, it sends a message that a black family could not do as well for that child. There is also secondarily this unintentional flex, right, when we talk about privilege, that a white person can adopt anyone, but could a black family adopt a white kid?
Yes.
And though we know it happens,
yes,
I'm willing to bet it's harder. Right? I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty comfortable in saying that it's more difficult to do. And so I think what happens is that people see that now. I guess in my heart of hearts, I also think, so? I hear all of that, and I think it even. I can feel that in myself sometimes. But it's not a given, and it might not be the case at all. I think when you're looking to adopt, especially because I also know that there are more black kids in adoption programs than there are white kids, right?
Yeah.
In truth, if we're talking fairness, socialism, justice, whatever spin you want to put on it, if there are 100 adoptions and there are 90% black kids in the program, even if 90% of the families are white, a lot of those black kids should get adopted, right? And so I think the idea that only black people can adopt black children means that there are going to be a lot of black children that are just still stuck in those places. and also, frankly, a lot of white families who will not get kids then, right? So it will be nice. It's a weird way to put it, right? I don't want people to have to be adopted. Nothing wrong with adoption, right? But I think this idea that the group that we have that are being adopted of children, it would be great if one day those races were just as evenly mixed as we are a population in general.
Right.
But we're not right now, right? There are way more black kids in those programs, and so do we say that they don't deserve a home? They absolutely deserve a home, right? And also, white parents deserve a loving child, and so those mixes are just going to happen. And I think to not let them is prideful and a little silly.
Well, and I guess I have two things to say. One is are you saying the birth mother does not get to choose who she wants her child with? Because the birth mother's black. She has her own opinions.
Absolutely.
Right? So I think she should get to decide where her child goes. But also I think the stuff that we're hearing is it's more of an image thing of like white saviors.
Right.
And I do deal with this. I do have some uncomfortability when white people say to me, oh, you're saving his life, and you're like that. I hate that, and I don't think they necessarily mean that, but it does feel weird when white people say to me, oh wow, you're a savior, you're blah blah, any parents are saviors. Right. Oh my God, parenting is hard. So whatever.
Right.
But I think it's also the image of the white savior with the black child. I don't know. I think that's part of it.
I think that's part of it as well.
But
I personally think that you're providing a beautiful home for a child of any color, and I think adoption is just beautiful no matter who it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. Every child deserves to have a mother who wants the child. And of course, now we're going to get into choice and all this kind of stuff about making people have a child. Why would you even want children to be in a home with a mother or father that did not want them? Children need to be wanted and loved. You just like your son is lucky to have you guys as parents, but you guys are lucky to have him as well. He's brought so much to your life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now we're talking about why on earth are you forced, and you don't know the reason. Sometimes when people say, oh, well, that child's not a child of rape, so then there's okay. But you don't know if that woman was raped by somebody else and she's messed up in the head now. You know what I mean? And the choices that she makes are not great. And she's somebody she met in a bar. And you know what I'm saying? Why would you want that person to be the mother and take care of that child? You're putting the child in danger when you force people who don't want to be mothers to be mothers. Well, when we have so many beautiful mothers who want to adopt a child and give a beautiful home. That's my soapbox on that.
But I what I also say too is anybody that is against abortion, you better start being a foster parent and you better start adopting kids.
Thank you.
You gotta start adopting those kids. And some people do, but most people do not. So
thank you.
Get up and do some work.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was not white guilt, but we'll talk about it.
We have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is another way of being an ally.
Okay.
If you see something online, now do your due diligence. Don't just post and repost everything you see online. Yeah. But I know for a fact that I've learned some things that I would not have known. Like Tom Hanks was talking about, Tulsa. And how the whole town was burned and so forth. And he said, how did I get to this age and I'm just now hearing about that? So he was angry that it was never in the history books, how Tulsa was, burned. It was a self-sufficient black community that was thriving, had lawyers, doctors, everything back in, 1921, I want to say. That date might be tricky. I'm not sure if that's the date, but I know for sure Tulsa. Did I just snort? Sorry about that.
That's a passion
but it
snort.
was a passion snort. But Tom Hanks was just angry that he's just now finding out about this. Yeah. And the only way that I could share it to other people is sharing it on my Facebook and sharing it whatever to let other people know too. We have to share information. That's how we can become an ally. Things that happened in history that you didn't know about, let's share it.
Yeah.
Because, go ahead.
It's just, I'm saying, it's not just slavery.
No, it's not just slavery.
So many different things, and you just start. But again, we didn't learn about it. I didn't learn about it in Canadian history.
Right.
But the things we did not learn in school is,
Right.
Oh, boy.
huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, we gotta talk
Hey, but
about
we got
it. We gotta bring it
Pythagorean
up.
theorem, so that's useful.
Oh yeah, I know. Like
Yeah.
There's a lot of other ethnicities, groups of people that obviously we have discriminated against.
Yep.
So what do you say to people, like, you can't even get out information about white privilege or other stuff before people are like, well, I might be white, but I'm Irish and my, blah, blah, blah. So, like, what information can you say to that?